session of Scottsboro City Council to order. Invocation given by Mr. Mayor and the pledge led by Mr. Smith.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for the day you've given us and all the blessings that go with it. We thank you for the ability for those that have been able to witness a historic occasion today. And we thank you for the gift of life. We pray for our city servants, police and fire, as they put their lives on the line each day, and all our other city workers, that you continue to watch over them. I ask that you be with the council as they go about the city's business, and just continue to keep your loving arms around us. It's in your Son's name we do pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda this evening, Ms. Phillips, I believe we have some awards to present.
On August 10th, 2017, at approximately 8:54 p.m., Lieutenant Greg McGee and Officer Chris Roney were effecting a felony robbery arrest at the intersection of Highway 72 and Smallgrass Road. While doing so, they saw a vehicle traveling west on Highway 72 and witnessed the vehicle leave the roadway, crash into an embankment, and then partially overturn. Officer Roney asked a police trainee, Officer Tyler McLemore, that was assigned to him to keep his felony prisoner secure. Without hesitation, Lieutenant McGee and Officer Roney drove their patrol cars a short distance, exited their vehicles, and ran toward the now flame-engulfed vehicle. Lieutenant McGee proceeded to ward off the fire with a fire extinguisher and look for occupants of the vehicle, while Officer Roney climbed onto the overturned vehicle, into the vehicle's now broken sunroof, and located the driver of the vehicle, Jennifer Nicole Brownfield, 39, of Scottsboro, Alabama. Officer Roney asked if anyone else was in the vehicle, and she replied no. Officer Roney then coaxed Ms. Brownfield to stand as the fire was now spreading to the passenger compartment of the vehicle. Ms. Brownfield complied, and Officer Roney grabbed her from under her arms and pulled her out from the burning vehicle. Officer Roney then carried her a safe distance away from the vehicle so that she would not get hurt should the vehicle explode. Lieutenant McGee continued to douse the fire as he made sure that no other occupants were in the smoke-filled vehicle. Lieutenant McGee's and Officer Roney's professionalism, courage, and dedication and exceptional performance of duty was in keeping with the highest traditions of the Scottsboro Police Department, and with disregard for their own safety, saved a life that may have otherwise perished.
Lieutenant McGee. Thank you very much for your service. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Officer Chris Roney. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you very much. We certainly appreciate the efforts of these officers and all of our police officers in the city, and not just for the act that they did on this day, but the act that they perform every day. Moving on, we'll discuss updating and adopting the 2015 building codes. Chief, you had a meeting with some public representatives, is that correct?
Yes, sir. On, I think it was August 3rd. Yeah. On August 3rd, we had a meeting, the mayor, myself, Josh, building department, several contractors and realtors and those interested in the effects of updating building codes. We reported on the 7th. That was very productive and opened some lines of communication. We did not, I asked at that meeting over the next couple of weeks until now if they had any feedback or comments, questions, or otherwise as they reviewed that information to let us know. And to my knowledge, nobody's contacted me or anybody else. So
Not at this time.
And I believe, Chief, Mr. Mayor, that meeting was centered only around fire safety and the changes that would be made to the codes.
And the building codes as well.
It's so was what was presented in the original sample ordinance, or and if I try to tell you off the top of my head, I'll get something wrong. The building code, it's essentially the same codes we have adopted at this point. Codes being the manner that buildings are built and maintained, not so much the manner about where they're built or the area around them, as there's been some confusion between subdivision and zoning regulations and building codes. And we're dealing strictly with building codes in this meeting.
But again, as it relates to fire safety, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Fire,
So
fire
not the entire building code, but you looked at specific areas that have to do with fire safety.
No, we discussed plumbing, electrical, fire, there was another.
We discussed all of the proposed codes that
Yes.
were here and had representatives from
All
most
trades.
all of those trades, yes.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
plumber, electrician, we have a mechanical engineer,
Yes.
and several contractors, general contractors, and home builders and home resellers.
Okay. Any questions? So, is this the only proposed changes that we've seen thus far?
Yes, we haven't,
Building code?
yes, sir, we haven't gotten in, that's the nuts and bolts of people getting an application and the codes that the city, I guess, adheres to or under state guidelines. We haven't dove into ordinances, if you will, or anything of that nature yet. This is just the construction or remodeling process, I guess is the best way to put it.
Is that what Gene Watkins and some of
Yes,
the other
sir.
folks were in?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
that's what I was.
that's correct.
I guess what's the process, where are we going with that? Because this is something that I think people have asked about for a very long time.
I think that's a Mr. Kenneman question as far as the process.
Yeah, I mean, we're bound under the minimum state guidelines, as I understand it, and it was a matter of, as we get into the Municode and having our ordinances and codes online, it's meeting the minimum state requirements. Is that not correct, Mr. Kimball?
There's a dispute as to what minimum state requirements are, Mr. Mayor. There is a 1978 Attorney General's opinion that has never been litigated in the fire area that purports to give the fire marshal, an unelected position, the right to make law. I don't think under the Constitution of the state of Alabama, the fire marshal has that authority. There is certainly an opinion of the Attorney General that says such. Codes basically carry the force of law. So they ultimately are ordinances. What is generally done is, because they're so thick, it would cost thousands and thousands of dollars to run it in the newspaper, which we're required to do because we have a certain category newspaper in our city. If we did not have that size newspaper in our city, we wouldn't have to pay thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to run it in the newspaper. But there is another way that you can adopt codes in booklet form. And that would include things like the 2015 building code, the 2015 fire code, the 2015 property maintenance code. They're all published, and it can be done at the same time by going through a process that involves a synopsis. You can do that independently that way. It's actually the way that our codes were adopted back 14, 15, 16 years ago, to save money. The other possible way to do it is to indicate that you're going to adopt these things to the code producers. And then when you adopt the new code, adopt those at the same time. That the city of Scottsboro adopts the 2015 building code presented by the International Building Code Association, the 2015 property maintenance code, or whatever the number is of the fire code, and do it by reference. That probably would be the easiest way to do it. But those are the two primary ways to adopt things by code.
In your, did we have council representation at the meeting with you guys?
No, we did not. We could.
What I'd like to do is ask Mr. Patrick Stewart and Mr. Gary Stewart to meet with you guys to let us, so the council understands
Sure.
what we're talking about, and maybe can work with Mr. Kimmer on the verbiage and things.
Correct.
And during that process, if we could just take an overall look at the code in general, see if there's areas that we might simplify some of the code. I appreciate that.
Okay.
So I'll let Mr. Mayor, you reach out to Mr. Stewart, and see if you guys can find a day in the next week or so to do that for me. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Next is discuss tourism grant application. Mr. Jimmy Cobble.
Hello. Last week, or I think it was 2 weeks ago, we came to discuss a little bit about Rocktoberfest, and I brought some numbers with me. I just thought you guys needed numbers on what we would use the grant money for. That's what I brought with me. We talked to Brent Miller about doing an ad for the Daily Sentinel. It's a 30-day group ad. It'll cost $820. It gets us 2 quarter-page ads, 4 8-page ads, and 20 business card ads for the whole month of October, which the event will be held October 28th. It'll cost about $1,000 for signs and banners, the little 18 by 24 signs that you stick in the ground. $525 for a radio ad on K98 for 30 days. It's 30 spots for 30 days. $375 for an ad on the Rick and Bubba show once a day.
You don't have to slow down there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know
That's
you
the
were
reason I wanted a list of them, brother. Signs and banners.
Signs and banners are $1,000.
Radio, 500.
$525 for K98 for 30 days. Or 30 spots, rather.
Okay.
And then $375 for an ad on the Rick and Bubba show for 30 days. And then I'm still waiting on answers from Huntsville newspaper and Rocket City Broadcasting, which they have 3 radio stations in Huntsville that they cover. Altogether, for Summerfest, we got about a little over $25,000 into that event. This one, we cut some of our costs back down, so we're looking at about $17,000 to $18,000. All in all, for the tourism grant, we were trying to get at least cover our advertising costs, which is nearly $3,000 without the Huntsville paper and the Huntsville radio. The total on that was $27.20.
And may I ask why you left the clarity in there?
I did it, I just didn't happen to call them. Actually, we wanted to try to focus more to try to hit Marshall County, and that's why the radio was more important. I was confronted by Brent Miller about the Daily Sentinel ad over the weekend. That's why we just happened to bring the Daily Sentinel on.
I was just thinking every house in the Jackson County.
Right. And last year, well, for Summerfest, we had an ad, which I can get the numbers for that too. In the.
I just wondered if there's a problem.
No.
And am I to assume that your total expenditures are approximately what you got listed here, $20,225?
That was for Summerfest. We tried to cut some of those costs out, right? So it's projected, we'll be about 18,000 this year for Oktoberfest. We learned some things from Summerfest that we could probably do without.
Did you ever get any feedback from the local motels about how many folks came?
We had 770 something people, I believe, for Summerfest. Nearly 300 of those people were from out of town, which they all stayed. I know some of them came obviously Friday night before, and then some of them stayed even Saturday night after the event was over. So.
Any other questions for Mr. Cobble? Jimmy, I would ask you that this week before we meet.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely get you.
You give us a more detailed breakdown here. And do you understand the requirements of the tourism grant as it relates to this advertising cost?
You mean as far as the
saying,
yeah.
Things like that.
That's why I gave you that ad too, to show you that that's already on
All right,
there.
I passed it around, we passed it down to this end. Okay. All right. Anybody else have any questions? Thank you, Jim. Let's see, discuss resolution to award bid for medical physical examinations for the fire department. Chief, I believe you've got a bid of approximately $15,900. Did you?
Yes, sir, I'll be quick. This is a project we've been wanting to do for some time, as far as physical examination specific to the duties of firefighting, based on NFPA standards. So, talking to the mayor, we discussed it, and we were going to take a shot at it. We mailed 16 of these out, 15 of them to local places, and then one to the actual one we received back from, which is a company that's all they do. The one that we only received one, it was $15,900. After looking over that, considering the fact that we only got one bid back, we want to ask you to reject this, and then we're going to go back and evaluate exactly what we're asking for and see if maybe we can tweak some things to get that price down and include, more people and maybe some local folks better.
Any questions? We'll set it on next week. Next is discuss proposed three-way stop on Bob Jones Road and Shorty Robertson Lane. Mr. Mayor, that's you.
About 3 weeks ago, we were approached by the homeowners association at Rivermont Condominiums about trying to get some additional street lighting and something to help them detour the speeders that leave the apartment complex. And they had already gone to the extent of placing signage on the windshield of the property owners or the tenants at Goose Pond Colony. The manager there lives in Rivermont condominium, so she had tried to put as much, I guess, flyers out and information about slowing down and speeding. So he had met with Chief Dahl and I about the possibility of adding some speed bumps in that area. And of course, that's against the nature of the police and fire department to have those on public streets. We did address the streetlight issue with the electric power board, and they were in agreement. It was dark down through there. Not that that's going to slow the speeder down, but it would improve the lighting. So they were, and I don't know, but I'm assuming they have already added 3 additional streetlights in that area. But then Chief Dow can address, but he felt like maybe the best course of action, and it affects everyone, we're not picking on a single group, is to where you pull off Shorty Robertson Lane there by the Goose Pond Colony office owned by Bob Jones, create a 3-way stop there, which would, in essence, if you're leaving the apartments or the condominiums, have to stop at the stop sign, and vice versa if you're headed in that direction. And it also, because there is a rise there, if you're coming south on Bob Jones Avenue, it also adds some protection for those pulling out from Shorty Robertson. So, let's Chief.
The first request from Don was to put in speed bumps, and I thought this might be a better alternative
Solution.
Yeah.
solution. And the rise is particularly dangerous for that area, especially if somebody's speeding going towards the spawn apartments and somebody's pulling out of Shorty Robertson or the condominium.
Yeah. We, and to Chief Dow's credit, he had come to me back in the summer, and there's a digital speed limit sign that's out, and it's solar operated, and so he and I had discussed, and so this company had a sale on, so he has purchased, they haven't come in yet, some digital speed limit signs that flash and say your speed is, and tell us what the speed limit is and all that. And we had talked about that, but they're not cheap, and we felt like this might be a just as effective or more effective alternative for that area.
We'll set it on next week. I would invite the council to drive out and take a look at the area that they're talking about. Next, discuss if concept of access easement in vicinity of Highway 79 is in conflict with any existing or future planning considerations of the city of Scottsboro. I believe you have an email in your packet. We had talked about one access. We asked that the city engineer look at the multiple access points that are being proposed. The reply that I got states that the concept of the access easement from Highway 35 or Highway 79 that the council asked me to look at does not violate any current planning regulations in regard to access management, public safety, or traffic concerns. It's signed by the city engineer. I believe, in fairness to all parties, we would issue a statement basically saying that no proposed access to this property has any bearing on any present or future plans that the city has. And I might ask Mr. Kimmer if he could draft language to that effect. Is there any questions or comments concerning this? If there are none, we'll set that for next week.
What I may ask is for the attorney for the site. Is proposing this to draft something for either you.
Well, again, what we've done is we've looked at both proposed access points. So we seek input from both of those attorneys, if you want. Next, we'll move to delegations. Mr. Kelly Goodowin's barbecue cook-off.
Hi, my name's Tony Goodowens. What I'm going to say here is a little bit of a repeat of what Mr. ZZ Top here has already brought out to us tonight. I'm asking for a little bit of money for a whole different ballgame, though. This is the annual barbecue cook-off that we have in October. We'll be our third year this year. It's October 14th. I started the application here. Unfortunately, we only got a copy of it today. All we'll be able to do is the first page. And I would like to at least get our hat in the ring here and let you know that we're trying to get this thing going so we get some general idea of how much money we have to set it up. We're asking for $3,000 this year out of the tourism grant, and we plan to have a much larger and more inclusive performance of everything this year. We're having more entertainment, better entertainment. We're moving some things around so that it's better access. We're adding a People's Choice Award where individuals can come in and do a butt and dessert and sell tickets and they get votes, just like sort of like the chili contest. We've added that this year. Plus, we found out last year, and you probably know aware of this, Jessica, since your kids entered. We changed the name of Kids Queue because 15-year-old, 16-year-old boy doesn't want to be entered in a Kids Queue. So we're having a kids queue for the young ones and a teen queue for the older ones. So we won't hurt anybody's feelings there. But we are trying to improve it every year. We need your help on this. I would like to submit this part of the application at this time. And the application requires a lot of figuring from last year and this year. We're right in the process of doing this. So I'd like to get that to you as quickly as possible. But I just want to let y'all know so we can get some idea of what's going to go on so we know how much money we have to work with it to make it a bigger and better event.
What's the date of the event?
October 14th, Saturday. And we will have 2 televisions set up, one with the Alabama game, one with the Auburn game on it. So you'll be able to watch that all day. And the beer and wine garden.
Who's Auburn going to lose to that day?
Sorry.
Withdraw the question.
But we really appreciate your help, and as required here in the tourism grant application, it will bring in people, and we get people from at least 3 different states that are entering the contest now to cook the barbecue, and we also have tourists and people come into the contest, and we're having more vendors this year, more food vendors, and more merchandise vendors this year than last year. We're working hard on improving it every year.
Thank you. You'll complete that and give this to them. I'm sorry. You'll complete your application.
Yeah, we'll get this to you before you finish what it's.
Thank you, Kelly.
We'll move to reports, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. 2 or 3 things. I gave you a little packet of information for your bedtime reading. It deals with the events coordinator that I'm proposing in the upcoming fiscal year. There is already on file with the city a public events and programs coordinator. I guess it's all semantics and what you call it, but I am proposing, and you'll see in your information how the position would be funded. It would be a shared funding agreement with the Chamber of Commerce and Goose Pond Colony. So you've got that information, like I say, for your bedtime reading. A couple of things I wanted to comment on. I want to commend Tony, your wife. I know she didn't take from you, but she and Ms. Shankles and all those at Collins Intermediate, the outstanding job they did with Lion King and that production. It was, if you didn't see it, you really missed something. And I think they're onto something special for the school system here. I think I could see them challenging the high school to step up their game. But I want to commend them, and then Casley Bellamy and Dr. Campbell attended Music on the Mountain Friday night, and that was a real fun event. So, 2 great events that happened for our area, Friday and Saturday and Sunday. And then a couple of things as far as projects ongoing. Some of you, and we've gotten a couple of calls about the trees that were, some of the dead trees that were removed at King Caldwell Park. Eddie and his guys, there had been some identified. There's still some in there, but they identified what we felt like, or they felt like was the greatest risk for pedestrians here in Art Sunday. So those have been removed and cleaned up and getting that park ready for Art Sunday. So there's more work to be done in there as far as removing dead trees, but that'll come in the winter months or late fall. Some of you have noticed or should have noticed today that there's some ditch work, embankment work being done there on Methodist Church property. That is a joint effort. I had reached out to them back in the spring, and they're paying for the reworking of that bank. It'll, I think, improve the aesthetics for all the area down Broad Street, and they're going to pay for siding to go on that. So I think that's going to be a big plus, and it's good that it's happening before our Sunday. Ball field work is continuing. We're probably a month to 6 weeks out from the construction phase being done. And as you know, the downtown square renovation is going quite well. I will be having a meeting with the property owners and tenants from around the square. We've invited them to just a sort of a construction update on the 29th, next Tuesday at 5:15 here. It's just to let them feel like their voice is being heard and to talk about the construction process and upcoming landscaping plans, and just to, you know, continue an open dialogue, and also let them know what's, you know, cooking for Christmas, and as well as barbecue cook-off. So that's coming up next week. Other than that, that's all I've got tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Butler?
Just wanted to echo that what an excellent job for the production of everyone involved with Lion King. They did a great job. And then also wanted to remind tomorrow night, if you'll come back out from 6 to 8, Mr. Chuck Sykes, the Director of Wildlife and Freshwater Fisheries, will be here to do the Game Check Seminar Series. So come back, bring your hunting buddies from 6 to 8. And excellent service. Thank you all for your employees, for your wonderful service to the county.
Thank you, Ms. Butler. Mr. Stewart?
Yesterday was a first for the flag football in Scottsboro, the great department, and I am honored to be a coach for the 5 and 6 year old team. I know absolutely nothing about flag football. They called and asked me, and they're more willing to learn. But the kids were super excited. I don't really know the full number. I think there's close to 60, 65 kids maybe that participated. But the way that they did it, Robert Fanning did an excellent job, and the other folks that were involved in it. But he wanted to do it like a real NFL draft with the jerseys and all that. The kids really made it a special event for everybody, and the parents as well. So give them a shout out and say thank you for what they did in the line.
And I might add, one of the pluses for it, as we talked on the city side about offering this for the kids, is there's no Saturday games, it's Thursday night, and that's a plus. To try to give parents a Saturday free and go to whatever else is going on in their life.
And that'll definitely help. We appreciate that.
Yep.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Pat. Mr. Gary Stewart?
I don't have anything to see.
Mr. Smith?
I don't have
I've got just a couple of things. I too want to echo Ms. Butler and the mayor's comments about Lion King Jr. I will be the first to admit that I thought that I was going to see a middle school play. And it was truly a production. And if you didn't take the opportunity to witness it, you truly missed a very good show. On the subject of Lion King, this weekend is Lions Club hot dog supper and bingo night, so participate that. If you need tickets, see me, I've got some. September 7th will be the grand opening for the Boys and Girls Club new STEM Lab. That's from 5:30 to 7:30, is that correct? Next week, the 28th, we will have a public hearing immediately following the council meeting having to do with Porter Road. and the possibility of opening that to truck traffic. Immediately following that public hearing, we will have a public budget overview to get started on working on next year's budget. That's to begin no later than 7 p.m. That's all I have. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Anyone else have anything, Mr. Mayor?
Were you gonna go ahead and schedule that second one on Thursday, the 31st, or did that work?
Yes,
6 o'clock.
We'll schedule a second public, budget hearing that Thursday. Is that the 31st, did you say?
Yes.
The 31st, and that will be at, 6 p.m. Anything else? We stand adjourned until next week.